Hi, my name is Helen Bennett. I specialize in helping people recover from bulimia. These questions form part of an AMA, an Ask Me Anything, that I host in a private group called the Bulimia Freedom Fighters. If you would like to be in that group, I would love to have you there. It's super easy to join. Just go to bulimiafreedom.com and you can sign up and shoot me your questions for me to answer in the next AMA. First question is a biggie. In fact, it's probably the biggie. The question is around weight gain in recovery and whether it is inevitable. We're talking about bulimia recovery. This answer would be different if we were talking just about binge eating without the purging. There are many people in the group who overeat or binge eat and then have a way of dealing with that via either vomiting or laxative abuse or over-exercising or going through long periods of fasting or restriction. The vomiting one is particularly important. Okay, so let's dive in. Is weight gain a necessity in bulimia recovery specifically? I'm going to be 100% honest with you. And I don't think many of you are going to like this answer, but I'd rather you be honest, or rather I'd be honest, so that you can begin to prepare yourself for what's coming. So here's the thing. The chances of everybody who is in bulimia recovery from gaining a bit of weight in the early days is high. And I'll tell you why. Because if you know enough about me, you'll know that I look at bulimia as 3 behaviors, not just 2. It's restriction, which leads directly to the overeating, the binge eating, the comfort eating, and then the purging. So it isn't just 2 behaviors. There's actually 3. We have to stop all 3. And the way I do that is I help people learn how to listen to their body's hunger signals again, how to hear when the fullness signal switches on so that they can listen to that, and then how to distinguish that from the urges and the energy of just wanting to let go, that kind of bingy, frenzied energy that makes you keep going when you know you're already full, you know you've eaten enough, but you find yourself just going compulsively forward. Or if you've eaten and it feels just a bit uncomfortable and you feel that compulsion to get rid of the discomfort by purging. So we help you recalibrate those signals so you can hear them again, distinguish which is which, and start to become really masterful at honoring hunger, honoring fullness, and not eating beyond that and not getting rid of it if you do feel a bit uncomfortable. And the reason I point that out is because if you have been vomiting specifically, this can be extremely challenging because your body is not used to you keeping food down. So the chances of you gaining a little bit of weight in the beginning are pretty damn high, because as you try these behaviors on, as you learn to not restrict and rather listen to your body's needs for food, and as you learn to try and stop when you're still full, and then as you learn to try and keep that food down and not try and purge it, you're going to be making mistakes. That's the nature of recovery. You're learning new skills. It's not something you just pick up in an instant. It's something you need to take time and practice with. So initially, there tends to be a bit of weight gain for a number of reasons. For years, you've been restricting. Now you're actually eating appropriately again. Or because you're not used to keeping food down and maybe you've got a bit more of it than your body technically needs. But, and here's the big but, for many, many people, that weight gain is temporary. And many, many people, in fact, lose weight in the long run as they really begin to listen and get really good at hearing their body's hunger and fullness signals. But, and this is a big but, if you are somebody who has been struggling with anorexia, or you know intuitively that your body is underneath a weight that is safe for it. So if you have lost your periods, that's probably a good sign that your body's saying to you, red flag, we do not have enough nutrients or fat on board, and we are not going to allow you to have a child. So when you lose your period, that is your very clever body saying to you, whoa, 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 this is not safe. Because if she's going to give birth or she's going to have a baby on board for 9 months, we best have some fat reserves there in case of a period of famine. Because of course, human beings went through periods without food. You know, winters were tough and they didn't always get what they needed. So our bodies are very clever. And as women, we have these bio-individual markers where our body says anything below that, we don't let her have a baby, which is really clever. And that's why we survived such a long time. So for those of you who've arrived in a body that is underweight, under your body's bio-individual requirement for safety, you will probably, not even probably, you will over the period of your recovery, gain the weight into that space, and you will need to stay there. And how do you know if you're there? Because it feels freaking good. Because you start feeling healthy and you intuitively know that your body is actually in a really good, healthful place. It may not be something your mind enjoys because maybe you always want to be the thinnest one in the room or whatever. It's just facetious, but you know what I mean. But ultimately, your body will be giving you the signal. This feels good. I feel healthful. I've got energy. I'm not scared anymore. I'm in a good place. We're safe here. And then when you're there and you're eating when you're hungry and stopping when you're full, your body will just happily keep you there. If you check in with your body right now and ask yourself, hey, body, if I learn how to eat when I'm hungry, to give you what you need, and to stop when you're full, are you going to turn me into the Michelin woman? The answer will be no. And you know this intuitively. So I need you to listen to that inner guidance, which is saying, if you could just eat what I want when I want it and stop when I'm full, we're going to be okay. And that's what I can train you how to do. And that's what we do in this group and in the courses and everything. So if you're looking for some kind of recovery method that keeps you excessively thin, but somehow stops those other two behaviors, then I'm not your coach, because I can't teach you that. Because I know as long as you're still restricting, you'll just jump straight back to those old two behaviors. So I hope I've answered your question. In summary, yes, for most people, there will be a bit of weight gain. How much will depend on whether you were in an underweight body to begin with and what kind of purging mechanism you're doing. Maybe the people who vomit might find that weight gain is more likely. And will the weight gain stay on? Maybe the better question. Again, it's going to depend on what kind of body you arrive to recovery in. And if you were in a body that has more weight on board than it needs, there's a good chance you'll lose weight as you begin to listen to your hunger and fullness. And if you're in an underweight body, you will gain weight and need to keep some of that on. And for those of you in a kind of, you're in your Goldilocks zone already and you just need to get rid of those three behaviors, great. There might just be a little bit of weight gain initially as you're getting used to eating when you're hungry and stopping when you're full, and it'll come off if you're already in your Goldilocks zone. So you can hear I'm very comfortable with that, because not only has it happened to me, but I see it time and time and time again. So for those of you who are listening to that answer, if you're somebody who is now freaking out because maybe you're in an underweight body and you're thinking, oh no, I've got to gain weight to recover, take a deep breath. Yes, you may have to gain some weight to recover. And yes, you're going to get really good at being okay with that. That is part of the recovery process. It's learning to witness all this thinking, the thinking that got us in trouble in the first place, and make it really empowering.